I recently took a trip to two places I'd never been to before, Copenhagen, Denmark, and Malmö, Sweden. I was lucky enough to travel to these countries on two of the most iconic, but also oldest aircraft in the skies, the Boeing 767-300 and 747-400. The 747 was launched over 5 decades ago in 1970 with the 767, following in 1982. Both aircraft revolutionized air travel with their massive size and impressive range, at least back then. Now here we are in 2025, almost, and despite their age and newer, clean sheet designed aircraft selling like Swedish pickled herring, both of those planes continue to meet today's standards of efficiency and reliability due to upgraded modern avionics, engines, and safety features. Now, despite my airplane nerd ramblings, this is not an aviation channel, which brings me to our reason for visiting this beautiful area of Europe. The first drive of the 2025.5 Volvo XC90, a vehicle which turns out has a lot of similarities to those two Boeings. Now, this Volvo is old, but it's also one of the most trusted, stylish, and safest vehicles in the 3-row luxury SUV segment. So Volvo's brought me out here to fill in for Sofyan and drive the newly designed XC90, an SUV that, while aging gracefully, still begs the question, has the company done enough to enhance its strong suits and keep it competitive in the segment? Stay tuned to find out. So I think that the 7.6 and 7.4 are two beautiful airplanes, but styling of aircraft really isn't nearly as important as styling of vehicles. And you can see the styling enhancements that Volvo has made for this 2025.5 XC90 are not major, but I think they've done a great job with the little bits that they've done here and there. The first thing that you're going to notice out front is the new design for the grille. The opposing bars here are really interesting. I don't remember any other manufacturer having a grille that has two different directions like that. You can see that they actually do go behind each other there, but from a walk-up perspective, it looks really handsome with that new grille. The Thor's Hammer LED headlights are still here and still standard. You have the sequential turn signal, the LED high and low beams, and the cornering lights. There are no fog lights down here, but you do have the cornering lights that are active. This color is called light ash, I believe. You'll have to correct me on that one, sorry, Sofyan's the expert there, but it's a subdued champagne color. There is one new red that is going to be on the XC90 this year, however they did not have that available for us today. Moving around the side of the vehicle, the dimensions haven't changed. You still have a length of 195 inches, wheelbase of 117.5 inches. It's a nicely proportioned vehicle. I mean, this is going to compete with something like an X7 or a Q7, Acura MDX. We're a little bit bigger than something like a RX or an Infiniti QX product. But for the 3-row segment, it is nicely sized, if not maybe on the slightly smaller side. Coming over here to the wheels, you can see that Volvo has actually equipped winter tires. This is not going to be something that's standard, but it is in the mid-40s here in Sweden. And while it's a beautiful day right now, I guess they didn't want us to get stuck. The standard wheel sizes here are going to be a 275, 35, 22. It's a square setup, so same tires and wheels in the front as you have in the back. The non-T8 models are going to come with a 21-inch wheel, but these wheels are very handsome. I like them with the black inner pockets and the brushed chrome look on the outside. They fill the wheel wells very nicely. Speaking of the wheel wells, they are body colored. You don't have any of the prerequisite black plastic cladding. This is a much more premium vehicle that doesn't need to be doing that. Charge port door is right here. You can see this is a European adapter, obviously. The US spec models will have a standard J1772 ports. Volvo did say that new deliveries, starting with the 2025.5, are going to come with an adapter for an AX plug, so you will be able to use Tesla chargers. However, if you have an older Volvo that's a plug-in, whether it's a XC90 or not, you can go to your dealer and purchase a NAX adapter for your J1772 plug. They didn't say anything about whether it was going to be built in, the NAX plug, in the future, but it was something that they were considering doing. They did have some charge times available for us here. On a 16 amp circuit, you're going to be able to charge this 18 kilowatt battery in 3 hours, on 10 amps in 4 hours, and 6 amps is going to be a 7-hour charge. So easily overnight, if you're going to be having a short commute and you want to charge this vehicle up overnight, much like an EV, plug it in at night, and you're ready to go in the morning. Obviously, you're not going to go as far as a full EV with only mid 30 miles range, but for around the town, it does very nicely. You've got body-colored side view mirrors with the LED indicator. As I said, or as I will say rather, this is a power folding mirror. You have a lot of chrome on the side, but it fits well with the exterior paint color. You have chrome down there at the bottom as well. Backing up from the vehicle, this is a very handsome angle. Honestly, this car is pretty darn sexy from any angle that you look at it, especially with how it has aged nicely. I mean, this vehicle has only had been 2 generations since 2003, and I think that the signature of the XC90 stands out anywhere. You come around to the tail lights here, you can see, I'd love to say that they're full LED, but believe it or not, that is actually an incandescent reverse light. I was shocked that the rest of this handsome tail light is kind of marred by a incandescent reverse bulb. Not really sure why they did that, but if you really want to, you can change that out yourself, I'm sure. You're also noticing that the lack of tint here is interesting, given this is not a US model where we have all of our SUVs with tinted second and third row glass. It definitely makes it distinctive here, and you can definitely see that something's a little bit different about it besides the European plates, obviously. I prefer the tinted look, but certainly gives it a unique look without the tint on there. Looking at the rear, you don't see any exposed exhaust. There is one tucked there underneath. The T8 model also does have air suspension. It's the only model with the air suspension that can raise and lower the vehicle, both when you get in the vehicle, also for different drive mode settings. You can see part of that from the suspension there. Not a ridiculous amount of ground clearance here. We're looking at about 7.5 inches, I believe. You're not going to be taking this too far off-road anyway. When you open up the tailgate here, well, I was going to press the button and show you, but actually I have the key fob, he tried to say, in my pocket. And if you just wiggle your foot underneath here, nothing will happen. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Look at that. Opened up all by itself since my hands were so full of all the groceries and things that I have. But it's a really nicely opening or sized tailgate, I think. You can fit lots of stuff in here. Right now I have all 3 rows folded down, and all 3 rows folded down, you're actually going to get 64.1 cubic feet of space, which is a pretty good amount. Again, older architecture, so the packaging, they had to do their best, and I think they did, because there's actually a lot of space in here. If you fold up the second row of seats, we're going to have 34.1 cubic feet of space, which still gives you plenty of area back here to put things if you're only going to be traveling with 4 or 5 people. Showing you the space behind the third row is actually a little more complicated. I've actually removed these very luxurious but very thick and rather heavy cargo mats in order to get access to the third row here. Additionally, I'm going to put the camera down here because there is this little tonneau cover, which you can use to cover your goods back here. Press those switches forward and this will come out and nicely be placed between, or behind rather, the wheel wells there. Fits okay. And then the easiest way to actually get the third row up is coming over here and doing it from the front. Again, no power would be nice. If I do that, same thing for the other side. You can see that back here we actually now have 11.2 cubic feet of space, which is a decent amount, but maybe not necessarily as much, again, as newer, more efficiently packaged rivals. I am actually wanting to show you underneath there too, so I'm going to fold those back down. Folding them down is much easier than putting them up. Move this guy out of the way. Back down with your friends down there. And you can see you've got a couple of different things. One, little divider here. So if you have groceries or something, you can put your grocery bags in there so all your crap's not sliding around when you're driving home. But additionally, underneath here, you also have a little bit more storage for the charging cable. Lastly, the couple of other features you do have over here, a little first aid kit, because again, Volvo, safety. Some nice LED lighting. You have a standard 12-volt cigarette lighter outlet over there. And additionally, our hitch here, if you want to hit that button, will deploy your cargo hitch. That's great. You can also hit the button again and It releases, and it looks like you have to finish helping it up, which is fine, no problem helping it up. Additionally, the other buttons back here, if you have your vehicle in the higher suspension setting and you want to get stuff to lift over a little bit high, you can hit that. And nothing will happen. Okay, well, I'm sure I don't have this in the right mode or something like that. Maybe it's because the door is open, it won't actually do that. But this should change the suspension height. I'm getting yelled at to go in and turn the vehicle back in. So we're gonna get this car back to Volvo. There's another beautiful view of that Orsund bridge, which I had to ask these locals who actually work for Volvo how to pronounce correctly to make sure I'm not screwing that up. Really long bridge regardless. So we're gonna go ahead and hop inside the interior of the newly designed XC90. First thing to show you all is the key fob. Sofyan always likes to mention that he used to love how Volvo used to wrap the exterior of the key fob in the same leather as the interior of the car. Not the case anymore, just a black plastic. Feels okay. Size of the key is nice. Could be a little bit heavier in my opinion. You have your normal functions for lock, unlock. You can open up the lift gate and you've got the remote start on there. This bright desk exterior really is a nice color, a little bit understated, but it complements the interior nicely. Before we get in, you can see a pretty traditional door handle here. You can press the button right there, will lock the car. Power folding mirrors will fold in. You can put your hand on the back, it will automatically unlock the car as well, and it is a mechanical door handle. Looking at the interior of the car, as Sofia mentioned in his first look of this, the interior has not changed massively, kind of like the exterior, but you are going to get some pretty big increases on technology. That doesn't mean that you're not still greeted with the traditional and wonderful Volvo interior appointments here. I mean, the interior on this car is absolutely beautiful. This Nordico leather is new for the 2025.5 model year. This is a bioengineered leather. They said that it actually comes from recycled materials from areas of Sweden and Finland, so it's not a real leather. You do have the option for a real Napa leather, but these seats are pretty wonderful. You can only get them heated though. For a cooled seat, you actually have to go to that full Napa leather. There's also a cloth interior material is available as well. And of course, as always, I love the little Swedish flag that's on the side of the seats there. It's always a nice little thing to look at. Looking at the door panels over here, same thing, real wood. It feels like wood, it looks like wood, it smells like wood. Cross stitching here, you have your normal functions here for your memory seats, 3 different positions that you can save your seats in. Metal speaker covers for the Bowers & Wilkins sound system. This is a 1410 watt audio system, and there's 19 different speakers. Of course, you have the normal tweeter that's in the center of the dash over there, and you also have some enhancements that have been made to the subwoofer in the back of the vehicle. The other materials here are pretty darn nice as well. Metal plated door handle there. The controls have not been updated. They are typical Volvo, but they feel very high quality. You have standard up and down one touch for all 4 windows, and your power mirror controls there as well. Really nice material here. Even in the door pocket itself, it doesn't feel cheap. There's a really nice rubberized material in there. There's ambient lighting, which you can't see right now, but I'll see if I can get some B-roll clips up here rather for you. Down here at the bottom, slightly harder material, which is, to be honest, actually a little bit scratchy. I'm surprised, but it's not going to be touched that much. Plenty of storage down there as well. You have an illuminated door sill. Go ahead and step inside the newly designed XC. Close the door. As Sofyan would say, it has a really solid sounding thunk. I think it sounds great. It doesn't have any squeaks or rattles when you close the door. And then you look at the rest of the interior, and as I said, it really is a beautiful place in here. Nice place to spend time. It feels extremely premium, very luxurious. When I first stepped in the car earlier with my drive partner, Drew from Car Confections, I just mentioned to him that, you know, this is an old interior. It has been on the market for a while, but if there was someone who really just stepped inside this car for the first time, even just stepped inside a Volvo, if you're coming out of an X5, X7, something like that, it does not feel out of place as a leader as far as luxury go and premium materials. Everything from all the way up here at soft touch with the stitching, you have your heads-up display. As I said, the center speaker for the Bowers & Wilkins sound system. That's metal up there as well. Beautiful materials over here. Cloth really is interesting. I mean, you think that, you know, cloth is not necessarily a luxurious material, but if it's done correctly, I think it looks great. You also have your real wood, carrying all the way over to this door panel over here. It flows together really nicely. It just seems like a wonderful place to spend time. The start-stop switch, or toggle rather, is down here. Go ahead and do that, and of course the car will come on without the traditional starter noise, since this is a plug-in hybrid, so it'll run off the battery. You can see right there, actually, this is a full charge, and it's showing 53 kilometers right now, which is roughly about 37 miles, I think, if I did the math correctly. Everything in here, of course, is going to be in kilometers and centimeters. 12.3-inch display here for the driver instrument panel. I'll go ahead and hit OK because it's telling me I'm sitting in the seat without my seatbelt on. I'll just go ahead and put the seatbelt on so the car is not mad at me. Volvo wants me to be safe. Imagine that. This display is customizable, but not massively. So basically, we have the navigation there in the center. We can hit the button over here on the right-hand side to take that away. Or not. I forgot to mention before you actually turn the car on, the welcome screen here is actually really nice, a top view of the car, and you have your range both in fuel and battery, obviously still in kilometers there, along with the 8 degrees Celsius, a little bit of a chilly day today. I'll go ahead and turn the car back on though. As I said, 12.3-inch display there in the middle, which is, it's pretty nice. It keeps giving me a bunch of different warnings. These are pre-production cars at this point. That intelligent speed assist is a standard feature in Europe, that the car will beep at you every time you go over the speed limit, but you can turn that off and it'll always be in the lower left-hand corner there of the display as well. All right, so I switched cars to one that's cooperating with the IP here. You can press the button right there and take the map away, or have it be blank. It's not much more customization than that, unfortunately. Over on the right-hand side, though, you will see a little bit of changes here when you change the drive mode. So if I go over here, change the drive mode, again, hybrid, power, pure, off-road, all-wheel drive, you can see when you change the drive mode, you're gonna get a tachometer right there in power mode. In pure mode, you're gonna be able to see your power and charge meter again. Off-road, your tachometer comes back, and I know it's hard to see since we're sitting inside the car, but the air suspension is actually bringing the front of the car up a little bit and the back of the car up a little bit. There we go, you can see it just a little bit. And also there's an all-wheel drive setting as well, which doesn't do anything over here that I can tell. The screen in the middle here, 11.2 inches, I believe. I'll have to check with Sophion for that, but it's 2 inches bigger than the old display. And it's a great centerpiece. This really is a big improvement on Volvo's old systems. They told us basically that the processor has been upgraded, the software has been upgraded, it's the Google-based system. They wanted to make it as user-friendly as possible. One of the biggest things they talked about is the fact that it's a lot easier to get to different places on here. Wherever you are on this system, you always have a home screen or a home button down here. If you tap that once while you're already on the home screen, it actually makes the map bigger. But if you are, for say example, you are in your drive modes, you can just hit the button at the bottom and you will go back to the main screen again, to the smaller map, but again, hit it again and it makes the map bigger. Bottom left here is going to be all of your widgets, so you can actually customize what you'd like to have in here, download more things with the Get More apps in the Google Play Store, easy access to your user manual, not wireless, it is still wired. Apple CarPlay is going to be available. Unfortunately, it is a wired connection. I did not do that since I have my phone that I'm filming with right now. Bottom right here is going to be your vehicle settings. You can see everything is coming up really quickly and easy to get to quickly. Drive modes: hybrid, power, pure, off-road, all-wheel drive, battery usage. You can also change whether you want the car to creep when you let your foot off the brake, kind of like you would with an EV, or not do with an EV. Steering feel, soft or firm. I mean, it's a Volvo. It's always going to be very comfortable. We'll talk a little bit more how that feels when we get the car out on the road here. You can also adjust the air suspension for easy entry and exit, so it'll actually lower the car a little bit for you when the door is open. The air suspension is standard on the T8 hybrid powertrain. That's the only one that the air suspension is on. Again, go back to the home button here. And you also have a couple things as far as easy access to your audio and your phone here. But if you do hit the button at the bottom to make it go further away, you can see it's actually a smaller button, so you can get to these, everything you might want to use does not go away just because you hit the button. So again, easy access here. Climate's pretty simple there in the middle, one button to turn it on. On the left hand, you have the option for your heated steering wheel, 3 levels, heated seats. Again, unfortunately, the cooled seats and the massaging seats are not available with the Nordico leather. Same thing on the right side, except obviously no steering wheel button there. Rear controls, same thing with the heated seats back there. It also will show you which seats are occupied, seat belts or no seat belts. Honestly, the system's great. Having the Google Maps display in the middle here is absolutely wonderful. Me and Drew were discussing how we just think that everyone going just to this is a pretty much industry standard at this point is wonderful, since it's a great system. Works just like your computer at home. And you can see here, you can zoom all the way out, and the planet's upside down right now. But yeah, you feel like you're just on Google Maps just like you would at home. There are wireless over-the-air updates for this system as well, so Volvo will continue to upgrade and enhance as they see fit. Brief overview of the rest of this interior here. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but you have your standard center console here with cup holders, wireless phone charger, the crystal shifter, electronic rather, parking brake, auto start, stop defeat. You have really nice material, the bio-engineered material also all over the place, on a relatively shallow center console. As many of you know at this point, this console here in the middle is where the battery pack lives for the plug-in hybrid powertrain. So any ICE models, you'll actually have a deeper center console there, but it's good enough. Plenty of room for your small knickknacks. You have USB-C, 2 USB-Cs, and a 12-volt cigarette lighter outlet in there as well. Just sitting in these seats right now, I mean, we've been driving this car for about the last 2 hours so far. We've got a couple more hours to go today. They're absolutely wonderful. The adjustability is great. The thigh extender actually is something that I really like a lot because I have longer legs, and bringing the thigh extender out really makes it a comfortable place to sit in for a while. Coming up to the top here, you have a frameless rear view mirror. I love the material in the ceiling as well. You have a full panoramic moonroof, which does open. Slide your finger back there to tilt it, slide it back again, and it'll open up a decent amount. Standard wind deflector. Let's see if it goes back any further. Yep. And that's it. Okay, so over the front 2 seats, and I guess it could go back a little bit more, but it's always nice to have a modern car with a roof that opens up. It is kind of chilly, so we'll go ahead and close that back up. Sofyan mentioned in his first look on this car that the steering wheel was the standard steering wheel, but they told us there were a couple updates here as far as the materials that they used. Honestly, it feels nice to me. It's manually adjustable, which is kind of surprising. For someone like myself who's taller, I like steering wheels that come out pretty far, and this one actually does come out far enough for me to be comfortable to sit back in the seat far enough, but also be able to access the wheel. But yeah, overall, the interior here is a wonderful place to spend time. It feels luxurious, it feels open, it feels airy. The view is pretty good. My only complaint, if I had one, I would say is the cowl is a little bit high for me. Driving a Model 3, I'm used to a very low cowl, and obviously this is not a full EV, and it's still on Volvo's older SPA1 architecture. So I'm sure once they bring the XC90, when they actually do redesign it to either the SPA2 or something either more in the future, maybe they can work on that. Other than that, wonderful place to spend time. Let's jump in the back seat. So before we hop into the back seat on the way up to the car, you'll definitely notice that lack of tint I was talking about earlier. I think it, I like it better with a tint. However, it's a nice European touch that definitely shows your vehicle is a little bit different over here compared to the States. When you open the door here, you can see all the materials from the door panel carry over. So you still have the really nice stitching with the leather up top here. You have real wood, you have the metal speaker covers, a little bit of storage down there at the bottom. You also notice you have the sunshades. I will notice though on the back and on the front there's a little bit of extra dead space, so it'll block the sun right next to your head, but it'll still let in a good amount of light if you want to. Same bio-engineered material back here with the rear seats. This particular configuration is 3 across. There are captain's chairs available, but this is obviously the best way you can fit the most of your family and friends back here. When you step back, you will see that you have 36.6 inches is the quoted legroom. Now I will say this is where I had the seat to drive. I am taller than Sophia, and I'm 6'1", 6'2" on a good day, so we're looking at about a 5 or 6 inch difference in height. So I still have a good amount of space. I'll probably have another 1.5 inches of legroom here. Sophia normally likes to cross his legs, which I can still do. And you know what? I could be comfortable here for a while. This is fine. A taller driver like myself may intrude here just a little bit, but it's really not a bad place to spend time. You'll notice, however, that there is a pretty big hump here in the center. Again, that has to do with the battery for the plug-in hybrid architecture. You have pretty simple controls here, rear heated seats. 3 level, 1, 2, 3. It looks like you can actually lock and unlock the vehicle back here as well, unless that's to lock the panel. I'll have to look and do my research. I apologize for not knowing. Yep, it actually is a lock and unlock. So if you don't want the temperatures to be controlled or changed by your kids, maybe you can hit that lock button, but I guess the kids could also come on and just hit the button also. Air vents, and you also have a outlet here, or 2 outlets rather, USB-Cs, storage nets in the back of the seats. Everything back here still just feels so premium. It feels like such a nice place to be, especially with the panel roof. There is so much light coming in here. I love a light interior car, and this definitely is checking all those boxes. If you do want to move the seat forward and back, let's see here. You've got a lever underneath, and you can come up if you'd like, which I would not do this, but that's the most it goes up. That definitely wouldn't work out for me, but if you have small children, that gives more room to the back seat. Let's go back to the reasonable, not ridiculous position. You do have a armrest here you fold down, gives you 2 cup holders. Yep. Additionally, you can, once you get those back, extend the headrest here for the middle, which you actually have a nice button that you can press as well to, let's see, with the camera, put that back down. There we go. Fold that back up. You can also pull this lever down here, and that will, again, with a camera, it's difficult, bring that all the way down so you can have center pass through stuff as well. Let's go ahead and push that back up though. And we'll hop into the back seats here. The back seats, the rear seats, the all the way back seats, the 3rd row, he tried to say. So a couple different ways you can do this. You can pull this lever up top. That will just bring the seat forward, so you can actually keep a car seat in there, which is nice. That wouldn't be a heck of a lot of room, but I could make it work. You also have the ability to press or pull this lever down here, which will fold the seat completely flat. So that's going to be easier for someone like myself to get in there. However, for that configuration, you will not be able to keep a child seat, but it's nice that you have both options to do it. I'll go ahead and pull that again and attempt to put this seat up. There we go. Don't know how Sophion does this one-handed sometimes. He's the expert, not me. We'll go ahead and get into the back though, so you can see what the space is like. Again, not a lot of space here, but I'll make it work. Ugh, old and decrepit. Old and decrepit. And we'll move the seat back. All right, so 31.2, I believe, is the rear seat space. And yeah, it's not a lot. So this right here is with the seat moved all the way back. Let's see if I can even, no, I don't think that's gonna happen. Not gonna happen, so sorry. So someone Sophion's height may work. This seat right here in this slightly more forward position, I could be back here for a while, but definitely not an extended road trip. I mean, I'm having trouble with this center part of the seat right here. And additionally, it's hard to see, but foot space. There is some, but it's not a lot. So I wouldn't be super comfortable back here. The seats themselves, though, they're not bad. They're comfy-ish. They are a little bit more upright, though. The material feels nice. Let's see here. You have 1 cup holder here, plus a little bit of storage. That's nice. Over here, another cup holder, a little bit of storage. You also have air vents, which is nice. I am noticing a lack of outlets, though. I don't see any USBs. Nope, I don't see any USBs back here. But you have decent appointments. I mean, you've got LED lighting overhead. You've got some speakers. You can see there's a pretty big cutout for the ceiling here. So let's see if you can see here. Myself, if I sit, yeah, nah, it's not enough headroom for me. But again, Sophia may fit. I will not, though. So back seat probably reserved for children under, I don't know, 15, 14 maybe, or just people you really don't like. All right, so let's go ahead and open the hood here, which I'm not going to do while trying to hold the camera because there's a release lever here. But once you do that, you can see it's opened up with struts. I'll go ahead and grab the camera and we'll go ahead and go over some basic information here. So I got about a minute and a half into the other under hood scene, trying to convert kilograms to pounds and Newton meters to torque and horsepower, and realized that I was doing a terrible job for y'all. Also realized that they have this nice, beautiful cutaway. So we're gonna try this again and give you guys some more accurate information that we can all translate together. So this is the T8 powertrain. I did mention earlier there are other trims, a B5 and a B6. The B5 is going to be a 2-liter turbocharged with a 48 volt mild hybrid system. That gives you 247 horsepower, 266 pound-feet of torque. The B6 trim is going to be also a 2-liter turbo with an electronic supercharger and a 48 volt mild hybrid system. That's going to put out 295 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. As I said, this one right here is the T8, so we're still going to have a 2-liter turbo, and the difference here is there's no 48 volt mild hybrid system. Obviously, it is a plug-in hybrid with a rear electric motor. Right here you can see the massive battery area, which you'll see later in the interior, does impact the storage space just a little bit in the center console, but really interesting to see. There's actually no mechanical driveline linkage here. It's only the battery in the middle, obviously exhaust, and then all the electrical cables and such. However, the T8 powertrain, most powerful obviously, is going to be 455 horsepower, 523 pound-feet of torque. It is assisted by that 18.8 kilowatt hour battery. It is actually only a 14.7 kilowatt usable, however. It does give you that electric all-wheel drive since there is a separate electric motor over here at the rear. All XC90s are going to use an 8-speed automatic transmission, same transmission. We're going to have 33 miles of all-electric driving. When we did get in the car this morning, it actually was showing upwards in the high end of 30, 38, 37 miles, which is pretty great. So obviously that's going to depend based on your driving characteristics, if you will. It has a 3.6 kilowatt onboard charger. That's going to take roughly 5 hours to charge depending on your amperage. I've got a little bit more information on the amperage later. Combined fuel economy is going to be 27 miles per gallon. That's 26 in the city, 27 on the 26 city rather, 27 on the highway, but 27 combined. 0 to 60, I don't have our race box accelerometer here. I also don't think there's any super straight roads here I can use it, but I know Sophion is estimating around 5.2 seconds. I think he may have gotten 5.1 in an earlier model. Top speed is going to be 112 miles per hour, and towing is going to be 5,000 pounds. The curb weight for the T8 model is going to vary depending on market, but the US spec should come in at just under 5,000 pounds at around 4,910 pounds. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing all the mechanical parts underneath here. It is pretty cool to see the cutaway here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're finally behind the wheel of this newly designed 2025.5 Volvo XC90.
Take the next right onto Lundakravigen.
And I am joined by my good friend back from the States with Car Confections, Drew Hardesty. We've both been experiencing Sweden and Denmark for the very first time. Neither of us have ever been here before. Leaving this golf course, on our way back into Denmark right now. We're behind the wheel.
Meters, turn left onto Kustvagen.
I have made the life choice to leave the volume on with our Google-based navigation system here because neither of us speak Danish or Finnish or any of these languages, and it's always interesting to see the way that things are pronounced. So we want to get going here on some side roads, some smaller roads. Right now we are in hybrid mode, I believe, right? Let's bring us and start us.
Take the second left onto Kustvagen.
Just in pure mode, which, oh wow, you can see a huge body of water in front of us. I'm not quite sure what that is, what ocean that is. But it's an absolutely stunning shot. Hopefully the secondary camera is getting a good shot of it there for you. But so we're in pure mode right now. Right now we have 42 kilometers on the battery. I don't see a percentage on there, but we are looking at a total EV range of 33 miles, right, Drew? 33, 32, something like that. Yeah. Which is pretty good for a vehicle of this size, this weight, almost weighing 5,000 pound curb weight roughly. If you're just driving around town, you're going to the grocery stores or you're driving to the golf course, for example, from your wonderful Swedish house that you have here on the coastline, 33 miles is plenty. They have plenty of EV chargers there as well. You can tell the car is running only in electric right now. If we want to put our foot down Yeah, it goes, but given we already were at 60 kilometers, so roughly 45 miles per hour, so it's not going to be a, shove back in your seat experience when you're already on the roll. However, if we change us into power mode here, it will bring on the gas engine, and now if we floor it, yep, definitely has some more pull. Earlier, you did an acceleration run from stop, which we'll try and do later on, and it actually surprised me. And how'd you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I remember driving this before a couple times, but it's always surprising when you just do that full throttle acceleration from a standstill, because it has a lot of punch.
I'm trying to see if I can find a place for us to pull over for a second. We don't have our race box accelerometer. That's back in the States with Sofyan. However, let's see if I can not get yelled at by this. Well, no, I'm not going to do that because this road's getting even narrower. That wasn't a stop sign, was it? All of these road signs are extremely confusing given that they're, one, in another language, but also the shapes and colors we don't know. But that's okay. We haven't gotten pulled over yet. We haven't crashed into anyone yet. I may or may not have driven down the wrong way on a one-way street yesterday, but that's okay. We got that taken care of. It's always an interesting experience driving in another country, y'all. I've only had the opportunity to do it a couple times, but it's, I'm sure if you brought a European to the States, they'd probably have better luck because all of our drivers are terrible anyway, so even if you screwed up, you wouldn't be able to tell. But back to the vehicle, even in power mode here, with the engine on, you don't really notice anything. Typical Volvo fashion, you're not going to really be jarred by anything in here. It's a very luxurious experience, very quiet experience. There is a gigantic ass bus coming that is not going to fit through here. I'm going to pull over. Sorry, dumb American. Wow, why is there a bus out here?
We're in the middle of nowhere.
We are in the middle of nowhere. Like, okay, whatever. Maybe they wanted to go golfing too. Lots of Volvos though. Like every third car here is a Volvo, which makes sense. So as far as the acceleration goes, we've got an opportunity right now. Let's go ahead and see if we can get a quick little run. So we are still in power mode, just floor it.
In 400 meters, turn left onto Pinhavigen.
We will turn left onto Pinhavigen. The 8-speed automatic, which is standard in all the trims, is a great job. Again, it's smooth power delivery. It is nothing that is going to upset you or your passengers. And
turn left onto Pinhavigen.
I think that it accomplishes the mission of the car pretty nicely. A stop sign. This is the first stop sign that I've seen, I think. Everything here is a roundabout, with the very rare exception of a few traffic lights, but I've never seen a stop sign until now. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but you can literally see for miles, it feels like, around here. And the Volvo fits in perfectly. It's a luxurious, refined driving experience. I really do appreciate the new technology that we have in here. Now that I've spent a couple of days with the vehicle, I almost feel second nature to me. I drive a Model 3 Performance at home, and I'm used to a bigger screen here in the middle, but this does just as well. There's no problems with it whatsoever. I will say I wish I had a massaging seat right now. That'd be nice. But you can only get that on, the Napa leather interiors, right?
Yeah, Napa leather with
meters,
lounge
you will arrive at
package.
your destination.
So it is available still, but none of the models that have been here have the Napa leather for some reason.
Well, they just wanted to show off the Nordico, I think, because it's new this year, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Now, even though I have been harping on the fact that this is an older platform with an older design, I do want to compliment Volvo on the visibility in here. This A-pillar is not large at all. You can see around it pretty nicely. But the cowl is a little bit high. You're shorter than me, and pretty much everyone is. How do you feel sitting in here? I mean, I feel like you can't really see over the hood that well. That'd be my only complaint with the visibility in here.
I mean, I was okay with it.
You didn't crash into anything.
No.
But I mean, honestly, with
it's got a 360 camera, so that's helpful when parking.
That's true. I guess if you're parking, but if I'm going down the highway driving with a 360 camera, I'm in bad shape. But no, seriously, I mean, for a car that is this old, as far as the bones go, the NVH here is outstanding. It's extremely quiet. I know we don't normally measure decibel levels on our channel, but y'all do, and we got, what, 58 decibels?
Yeah, pretty good for this type of road texture. Right. Obviously not in the States, but...
Yeah, but we are on winter tires, and When I was in the passenger seat earlier, I felt like I heard them a little bit more. Maybe it was the road quality and we're maybe on nicer roads now, but it's still pretty darn quiet in here. So with standard either summer tires or all seasons rather, I'm sure it would be even better. It's a very relaxing experience. We really are able to drive through here without worrying about anything except for this beautiful countryside that we're seeing.
In 500 meters at the roundabout, take the first exit onto the E6 E20 ramp to Malmo.
There's a roundabout, and we're going to exit immediately. Very good.
In
Looks
400
like
meters, merge onto E20 E6.
we are going to merge onto E20 E6 in a couple of meters here. There's some crappy road conditions, but even so, you don't really hear a lot of penetration as far as the tires go. Honestly, on the highway also, when we were driving over the bridge, which is called, do you remember the name of the bridge? I don't at this point. I kept looking it up.
Something with an O?
Olsen?
In 3 kilometers,
Or
take exit
something.
22 traffic plots Borgaby toward Borgaby, Bajard.
Borgaby, Bajard. We are on our way. Anyway, we went over that really long bridge, and we had one of our cameras mounted on the roof. We heard a whistling sound, and we actually were both thrown off because the car had been so quiet up to that point. And we realized, oh crap, that's the camera mount, not anything else. Because everything else is really almost no noise coming in here whatsoever. Now that we're on the highway, we're going 103 kilometers, so just over 60 miles an hour. Actually, we're not even going the speed limit, 110. There you go. It's a wonderful experience. You can cruise forever in this car. So 33 miles of electric range. With hybrid mode, you're looking at probably 500 plus miles, right? Do you ever do the math on that? I know Sophion normally does. He probably told me, which I forgot about immediately, but that's okay. I think it was like something like 530 miles of all total range, which is wonderful. Suspension on this vehicle, the T8 model is the only one to come with the adaptive air suspension, which can raise and lower the ride height of the vehicle, read the road ahead of you and make adjustments. And we did get a chance to drive the B5 yesterday.
In 800 meters, take exit 22 traffic plots Borgaby toward Borgaby, Bajard.
Borgaby Bajard. I love these names. So with the B5, it has a new suspension system, which is a variable dynamic waveform adjustable something. Help me out here.
Frequency
adaptive.
Yes.
There it is. See, I knew I'd get it.
Turn right onto Nora Vasquez
And we only drove that vehicle for a limited amount of time, but I think it felt pretty good. I will say that these still don't feel like large vehicles, but they're not going to be the most dynamic. If you're looking for something like
turn right onto Nora Vasquez an
X5, an MDX Type S, the MDX isn't even that much more playful than this, but it's definitely not a super sporty vehicle. You still get a lot of rolling back and forth. If you brake hard, it's going to bounce. Let's put our foot down here.
Continue for 1 kilometer.
Yeah, even something like that. The transmission does a great job snapping off the shifts, but it still feels like a relatively big car from the seat of the pants. When you're looking out from the car, driving it, it doesn't feel like you're driving a massive vehicle, but you can still tell you've got a lot of weight moving around, given the battery is heavy in this vehicle too. So speaking of fuel economy, given we are in a media drive and we've been driving relatively spiritedly, we've been averaging 6.8 liters per 100 kilometers rather, which I would have to do the math for later. Maybe I can put something on the screen. We were able to get some preliminary numbers though from Volvo as far as MPG ratings, and we got 26 highway, 27 city with 27 combined. Please, there's that sign, didn't fart, smiley face. I think that honestly is telling us that it likes the speed we're going, right?
Yeah, I think so.
What did I tell you earlier? There was a speed sign that said some Swedish word, and I translated it, and it translated to hugs.
Yeah.
So I guess that they are loving you for not speeding, given I am going 5 under the speed limit right now. Anyway, yeah, fuel economy. Honestly, for something this big, 5,000 pounds, if you can get that rated number of 27 combined, that's pretty darn good. And given that's driving in hybrid mode with the battery assist. Now, given this is a global car for Volvo, I will say that the seats probably took into account fat Americans like myself. They are very comfortable. You have no problem staying in these seats for a long amount of time. As I said earlier, I do wish that it had a massage function. Volvo does some of the best massaging seats. The EX90 comes to mind, which is just fantastic. Speaking of the EX90, I know that Volvo is telling us that they were going to be pushing wireless Apple CarPlay to that vehicle, which we do not have in this XC90, would be nice, but it's not. I'm not missing it. The Google display here is doing a great job. You were talking yesterday how we both love the fact that, you know, Google Maps is kind of becoming an industry standard as far as things in the vehicle, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of more consistent, I guess. You can go from different model to different model. You don't even necessarily have to pair your phone, and you get a familiar interface that everybody's pretty much already used to using.
Absolutely, yep. And piddling around a more city-centric area here, I'm going to switch the drive mode back to, as long as I don't crash into any Europeans, pure mode. Pure mode, there we go. And now we're back into full EV, and this is where this car will absolutely shine, because you can poke around town, do what you need to, not have the vehicle on at all, and you really wouldn't notice it. I mean, I drive an EV, and there's no lacking for power when you need it at low speeds. You're right, bad parking.
Bad parking.
Bad parking is that way, apparently. So, wow, this area is just stunning. Look at all these leaves. So I am sure Sofyan will get one of these newly designed XC90s back home in York to drive pretty soon. He'll give you his full impressions as well, hopefully a little more concisely than my ramblings. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this car. I think Volvo has done a great job taking older technology and an older platform, giving it enhancements where it needs to, with technology on the inside, still premium materials, enhancing the suspension on the more base models, and making this thing soldier on as a successful vehicle in the three-row luxury SUV segment. So now that the sun is going down after a long day of shooting and driving the newly designed 2025.5 Volvo XC90, it's been a great day. I've learned a lot of things about this car, and I've learned how and why Volvo's continued to soldier on with this SPA1 architecture and just give this car some tweaks, some styling enhancements, some technology upgrades, making sure that it was safe, making sure that it was reliable, and making sure that it was still going to be a leader in the market. I really am happy with the vehicle, and if I had a need for a vehicle that you could carry 6 or 7 people in, it would definitely make it to the top of my list, because you can see I've switched over to this B6 trim with the Drew, B6 or B5? This is the B5. Son of a bitch. Okay, B5 powertrain with the 2-liter mild hybrid 48-volt system in this denim blue color. It's very understated. It's also handsome, though. I would like to see the new red eventually. The pricing that I told you guys about, this one right here, $70,550, and that's for the 7-passenger configuration. As you can see, this one also still has that bench seat in the back. Volvo basically charges you $600 for the extra seat. If you'd like to have that. The previous vehicle that we were driving earlier, the T8, is going to come in at $80,200. So still a pricey vehicle, but everything in this segment is going to be at least that expensive. All the competitors in this price range can get close to 100 grand with some options. So I like that Volvo still has at least a little bit of a value quotient to them, given that this is an older platform or an older architecture that they're still capitalizing on. So to answer my question that I asked at the beginning of this video, I believe the answer is yes. Much like those 2 older aircraft, Volvo continues to offer this newly designed XC90 in a way that utilizes the old SPA1 architecture to offer a still very desirable product. The styling changes, while not that extensive, are pretty noticeable. The wheels, the headlights, the darkened taillights, the new colors, as well as the new technology inside does a great job to still offer the 3-row luxury SUV space a great option. While it is older, it still does a great job. I had a wonderful time driving this vehicle here. It was luxurious, comfortable, quiet, fun to drive, fast when you needed it to, and it took care of us, both on twisty roads and on, I would call them highways, but you really don't see anything more than 2 lanes here in Sweden, at least from what I can see. So it's been a wonderful experience, and I think Volvo has done a great job, as I said, making an older product continue to soldier on and be a formidable offering in this space. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Thanks for sticking with me instead of Sofyan, and thank you also to Volvo for taking me out here to Sweden and Denmark. It's been a wonderful experience. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you want to continue seeing the latest vehicles that we're testing, be sure to follow us on Instagram at Redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and please continue to keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.